All right, Rainbow Warriors of Seattle. So today we are going to go over the update of the CHAZ situation in Capitol Hill, Seattle, as of Friday, June 12th, 2020. Let's go over the briefing, what's happening, who the players are, what the politicians have said. If you're completely unfamiliar with what CHAZ is, it is an autonomous zone, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ, in Capitol Hill, Seattle. It was where protesters were standing off with police. Police have since decided to abandon the Seattle East Precinct office, and now the protesters are declaring this zone to be free of Seattle PD and autonomous from the legal system and the city government of the city of Seattle. And naturally, because Seattle police aren't there anymore, now there has been a power vacuum where Black Lives Matter is operating at daytime, and their own sort of police warlords, whatever you want to call them, not official police, but armed guards are operating the CHAZ and enforcing the barriers.
Here.
So have you guys seen armed guards here
I've seen
at the CHAZ?
Photos, yeah, and I've seen a few people with like AR-15s.
AR-15s, really?
Yeah.
Seattle commentator Christopher Rufo commented that rapper Raz Simone, who has been trolling the barricades with an AK-47 and a handgun, has been assaulting residents who disobey him. "We are the police now," says a member of his crew as Simone strikes a man on the street. "We are the leaders now. This is a dangerous game in the absence of police force. Criminal gangs are filling the void. The city of Seattle cannot allow this to continue." He also commented that there is a struggle in the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. During the day, Nikita Oliver and socialist activists have been mobilizing the Black Lives Matter agenda of defunding the police, but at night, rapper Raz Simone has become the warlord of CHAZ, organizing a group of armed men, declaring himself the new police. So this whole crazy situation definitely got the attention of President Trump. He tweeted, "Domestic terrorists have taken over Seattle, run by radical left Democrats. Of course, law and order." He also tweeted, "Anarchists just took over Seattle, and the liberal Democrat governor just said he knows nothing about that." Finally, he said, "Radical left Governor Jay Inslee and the mayor of Seattle are being taunted and played at a level that our great country has never seen before. Take back your city now. If you don't, I will. This is not a game. These ugly anarchists must be stopped immediately. Moved fast." Washington Governor Jay Inslee has been surprisingly quiet about the armed guards protecting the CHAZ, but he did respond to the president's tweets saying, "A man who is totally incapable of governing should stay out of Washington state's business. Stop tweeting." He also said, "Every time Trump tweets, I'm more energized than ever to vote him out this November. Help put Joe Biden, a real leader, in the White House and re-elect me as Washington's governor." And in response to Trump's threat about using federal forces to stop the autonomous zone and restore the police force there, Governor Inslee said, "I spoke with Mayor Jenny and her team about the situation on Capitol Hill. Although unpermitted, and we should remember we are still in a pandemic, the area is largely peaceful. Peaceful protests are fundamentally American, and I am hopeful that there will be a peaceful resolution. Well, we will not allow our threats of military violence against Washingtonians coming from the White House. The U.S. military serves to protect Americans, not the fragility of an insecure president. The Trump administration knows what Washington needs right now, the resources to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. If the president wants to show leadership and that he cares about the people in this state, he should send us the PPE we've needed for months." The mayor of Seattle also responded by saying, "Make us all safe, go back to your bunker, hashtag Black Lives Matter." The mayor also gave quite the lengthy statement on Twitter saying, "It's clear real Donald Trump doesn't understand what's happening on 5 square blocks of our city. Cal Anderson and Capitol Hill has been for decades a place of free speech, community, and self-expression. Lawfully gathering and expressing First Amendment rights, demanding we do better as a society and provide true equity for communities of color is not terrorism, it is patriotism. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, hashtag CHAZ, is not a lawless wasteland of anarchist insurrection. It is a peaceful expression of our community's collective grief and their desire to build a better world. Given his track record, it's not hard to believe that Trump is wrong yet again. For the thousands of individuals who have been on Capitol Hill, I think you've seen what I've seen. The painting of Black Lives Matter along Pine Street, food trucks, spaghetti potlucks, teach-ins, and movies. Seattle is passionate. We demand justice, and I believe we will be at the forefront of true, meaningful change. Nothing will distract our city from the work that needs to be done. I remain committed to working with community, including the organizers currently on Capitol Hill, to reimagine how we do things as a city and what investments in public health, safety, and economic justice look like. I'm working with Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best and listening to community to understand how we can continue to build trust between our Seattle police officers and the community around the East Precinct. One of the things that President will never understand is that listening to community is not a weakness, it is a strength. A real leader would see nationwide protests born from hundreds of years of immense grief of our black community, communities of color, and so many others, and the call to become an anti-racist society as an opportunity to build a better nation. I also want to be clear, as I have stated publicly previously, it is unconstitutional and illegal to send the military to Seattle. We will not allow this to happen. We will not let this president be a distraction. Centuries of enslavement and systematic racism won't dismantle overnight, but I believe that Seattle can be a model for our country. We must work to make progress together, and it is clear that Seattle is ready to act. This will build off our existing work to provide childcare and free college to every public high school student, provide jobs for youth, and institute criminal justice reforms, including vacating convictions for marijuana use. We will continue to build our women and minority-owned small business programs at the City of Seattle that prioritize hiring businesses owned by women, black and indigenous people, and people of color. We will continue to fund intervention and mental health programs so that those who call 911 in crisis are met with the kind of help they really need, whether that is a mental health professional, a social worker, or a community advocate, and not always a police officer. As we consider our city budget, including our SPD budget, I am committed to investing $100 million new dollars in community-based programs that serve black and indigenous people and communities of color. All of this is a start, and believe me when I say that I know that it is not enough. None of these actions will undo hundreds of years of systematic racism overnight, but at the City of Seattle, together with community, we are committed to doing that work. In another video, I'm going to update the Rainbow Warriors of Seattle about what the Seattle City Council member said, as well as some other community leaders like the King County Executive, and I will also be giving my thoughts on the Rainbow Warrior reaction to this situation and the different perspectives that need to be considered. But as of today, Friday, June 12th, all that is going on with the CHAZ is that Black Lives Matter Seattle King County has organized another march, the March of Silence, which I believe the mayor and the police chief attended today along with the protesters. And besides that, there is nothing too significant going on with the CHAZ, other than, in my personal opinion, the reason most people are going there is because they are tired of the lockdown, they want to party. Capitol Hill has always been the party zone for Seattle, and they want to get out in crowds, they want to have a good time, and they want to support their agenda, their own personal political agendas. So in the daytime, we have Nikita Oliver and Black Lives Matter promoting the Black Lives Matter political agenda, including defunding the police. And at night, we have the supposed armed guards who are not, in fact, trained police. I do not know how Capitol Hill residents feel about that. I wouldn't feel safe personally, but I do not believe that they are harassing anyone, although I have heard that they have assaulted people. So be careful in the CHAZ. If you want to go out and have some fun, do it. But this is not a calm situation, and I'm curious to see how the rest of this goes. Rainbow Warriors of Seattle, stay tuned.